Okay, go ahead and start. Okay, hi folks. I'm Heidi Wright. I'm the internship coordinator here at Pacific, and I'm here to talk about why it's important to get experience while you're in college and how to do it. Okay, so there's several reasons that I'd like to talk about for gaining experience in general, and then we can talk about the getting credit for it a little bit later. Okay, first reason is career exploration. It's really important to not only kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like, but it's also important to know how you behave as a worker as opposed to a student. You know how you behave as a student, but how does that translate to the working world? So, for instance, teamwork is used in classes all the time. And you may not like working in a team in school, but it's much different when you're out in the work world with different people that have some expertise, different ages, a whole diverse background. So working in a team might be totally different in the work world. Understanding organizations. So every company has a mission and a vision, and they also have goals. And what you learn when you actually work for an organization is, do they live those goals? So for example, work-life balance. Most companies say that they offer work-life balance. And that just means that your home life is just as important as your work life. But there's some companies that say that, but then when you get working for them, you realize that they have a lot of deadlines that are not accommodating a 40-hour week. And so what they say and what they do may be two different things. Understanding industries. So what is it like to work in that industry? For example, my daughter is in dental hygiene. And when she went into dental hygiene, she thought for sure she wanted to work with pediatrics. So she wanted to work with kids and she wanted to specialize. Well, now that she's into it and she's getting some experience, she's realizing that she actually likes to work with older adults. And that kind of changes the entire job. So instead of working with braces and little kids, she's working with dentures and older people, and she really, really enjoys that. She wouldn't know that unless she actually got some experience. Diverse coworkers and clients. So right now, most of the students you're working with are in the 18 to 24 range. When you're out in the work world, it's all over the board. You could be working with much older people and some younger people as well. And then another reason for getting experience while you're in college is kind of the obvious ones, recommendations. If you haven't worked, then you're not going to be able to get recommendations from people on what kind of worker you are. Resumes and applications, that is pretty self-explanatory too. You need to fill out the experience section on an application or a resume. Interview answers. This one is actually very, very important. Most companies, or I'd say even all companies, have, when they interview, they have what's called behavioral questions. So a behavioral question is like, when was the time that you had a conflict with a coworker? Or when did you disagree with your boss and how did you handle it? And so those are interview questions that are very common. And if you haven't worked, you can't really successfully answer that question. Kind of a practical reason that you will want to get experience is it may be required for your major. More and more majors are requiring some type of experience, whether it's an internship or field experience, because faculty know that this is super, super important to get this experience. And then another reason is you can get some other types of content requirements like civic engagement, sustainability, and international and diverse perspectives. So you notice that I skipped over this professional connections, networking. So networking is kind of an interesting term. It really just means that you are getting to know people. There's this theory that's in career development, and it's called planned happenstance. And basically it's saying the more people you know, the more likely it is that you're going to be successful in your career. Why is that? Well, that's how you get that first job, is by knowing somebody or making yourself part of the groups where that can offer opportunities. So for instance, when I first moved here, I came from Pennsylvania, and I didn't have a job. I didn't know anybody. I had worked at a university at Penn State back east. And so I was at a loss on what do I do? So what I did was I got on LinkedIn and I made connections with people. And so they didn't know me and I didn't know them, but they're in the same industry. We have the same interests. And I was really interested in what it was like to work at a community college. So turns out that I was doing an informational interview with somebody, and they said, oh, there's this great job at Pacific University. You might be interested in that. And I didn't know what Pacific was. So there was no possible way that that opportunity would have crossed my sights, because it was just on their website. So that's a good example of how just putting yourself out there opens up opportunities that you may have never even realized existed. And then this last one, I have it in red, is builds career competencies. So what are career competencies? Career competencies are established by an organization called NACE. It stands for the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And what NACE does is they take qualitative and quantitative data, and they determine with, so employers and universities will get together on a national level and talk about what do employers need out of their recent graduates. What kind of skills are the most important? And they've come up with 10, and they're pretty consistent every year. And I'd like to go through them. You may see these in some way on a syllabus. Pretty much every syllabus has some kind of learning outcomes. And that's basically different wording, but it's basically career competencies. Active citizenship. Are you helping the community? Well, every civic engagement course has something to do with helping the community. You can also do a project in civic engagement, and that would be considered experience, and that it would go towards active citizenship. Analytical and critical thinking. So can you use logic to solve a problem? Applied problem solving. Can you take how you solved a problem in one context and use it in another context? Career management. That's what this all is. It's understanding yourself and how you might fit in the world. Digital literacy. So competence with technology. Can you learn a new program? What is your method for learning? Engaging diversity. So this means not just appreciating diversity, but also, are you actively engaging? So do you include everybody in decision makings? So for instance, in meetings, diversity means more than ethnic diversity. It also means including everybody, and making decisions that are equitable for everybody. Ethical reasoning, pretty self-explanatory, making the right decision. Innovation and creativity, trying to implement something new. So can you come up with ideas to try out? Teamwork and leadership, and communication. So this is a chart. You may not be able to see it very clearly, but this is from Inside Higher Ed. This is a recent survey of employers, and I'll read the question. Percentage of employers who indicated they would be much more likely to consider hiring a college graduate with the following experiences. First one, completion of an internship or apprenticeship. That is the number one reason that an employer might hire you. And then it goes down from there on different types of experiences. So at Pacific, we offer a lot of different ways that you can get credit for experience. You don't have to get credit for experience. I would encourage you, if you have the financial ability and the room in your schedule, to get experience without credit if you wanted to. But these are the ways that you can earn credit for experience. Internships, that's the pretty logical one. And again, there's some majors such as media, environmental studies, applied theater, SLAM, that require internship. Again, the CE, sustainability, and IDP core requirement you can do through a project, which is experience. Studying abroad, you learn a lot through a study abroad experience, whether it's just a travel course or an entire semester abroad. Field experience. So this is specific to sports leadership and management, SLAM. They offer basically an internship, and it's called field experience. And then practicum. So if you're in social work, criminal justice, public health, you have to get experience as part of your degree, and that's called practicum. Okay, so internship for credit. This is a way to earn up to 10 credits for experience in the area of your interest. So you can use 10 credits towards graduation. I mentioned the career competencies. Those career competencies are, again, in every syllabus for every course. With an internship, you're essentially creating your own course. So you're determining what the learning outcomes are. You're determining what career competencies you want to work towards. So this is a way that you're actually getting experience creating your own course. So it's specifically for you. You do need a supervisor and an instructor to agree to your learning goals. So these are the components of an internship. It's you, me as the internship coordinator. I'm the one that handles the logistics. You have to have a job or a task and a supervisor. It can be paid or unpaid. I highly encourage you to work for a paid position, because I really feel that internships should be paid. There's a couple of exceptions to that. And it's usually like government positions that don't have the funding, something political possibly, but usually you can find a paid position. You do need a faculty instructor, and you need the contract. So where do you get started? First thing you should do is talk with your advisor or me on, do you have an experience requirement as part of your degree? Another question to ask is, which content requirements are you trying to fulfill? So do you need to get in civic engagement, sustainability, international and diverse perspectives? What am I hoping to learn from the experience? What are your basic goals? When is the best time to do an internship? Ideally, the sooner the better. However, many internships don't want you to do an internship until after sophomore year, so that you have some coursework as a background. And then where will the credits fit into your curriculum? Will they be electives? Will they be electives in the major? Those are all questions to ask. Okay, what about finding an experience? Well, this is the one that I think is really the hardest for students. Where do you start? Well, start with your interests. What have you done in the past that you really enjoyed? What do people tell you is a skill that you have? What do you feel that you're good at? Is there a certain cause or a field or a company, an industry that you're passionate about, or even just interested in? And then from there, once you can narrow down your basic interests, who do you know? That's the first thing you should do, is figure out who do you know that might be in a similar field. So ask family, friends. There's friends of family, business relations. There's people that you know that at least know somebody in the field. Your university contacts. So me, your professors that are in the field. I can also help you with connecting with alumni. You can do this yourself too. So something that you might want to get involved in now is creating a LinkedIn account. So we have access to every alumni that is signed up for a LinkedIn account. It's thousands. And I've been able to connect alumni with current students often, just for informational interviews and advice on where should you look for a certain position, what's it like to be in that position. And then lastly, and definitely lastly, you want to look at job platforms. So Handshake is a platform that is designed specifically for students. So there are a lot of really good internships on there. Indeed, of course, is an opportunity, MaxList, Glassdoor. So there are definitely opportunities there, but you want to do the first three first. So that's it. That's all I have. I'd like to show you the contract. Okay, Sarah, can you see this contract? No? Okay, I'll stop share for a second. Okay, so this is the contract. It looks like a bear. There's 8 pages, but essentially I can go through it very quickly. In order to get credit for an internship, you have to put in 40 hours of work for 1 credit during the semester. The rest of it is all fillable PDF. So you put your student information in. The course depends on the department that you're doing it with. So if your faculty member is in kinesiology, then it'll be KINES will be the mnemonic, and then it'll be $275 if you're a freshman or sophomore, and $475 if you're a junior or senior. All of this is documented. But basically that's the only thing that is kind of tricky. And then the course title is what you make up. The INT stands for intern. And then you have 25 characters, and this is what appears on your transcript. Your faculty internship instructor, that's somebody in the department. Internship credits is determined by the number of hours you expect to put in. Grading option is up to the faculty instructor. And then this section is all about the organization and your supervisor. Job description is usually given to you by your supervisor. If it's not, you can work with them to get that. And then this is the part that's takes a little bit of thought. So learning outcomes are, what are you going to learn that's specific to that job? So is there a specific computer system or software that you're going to learn? Is there a certain technique that you're going to learn that's specific to that industry? And you don't need a lot. Usually most people have 4 or 5. And then those career learning outcomes, you'll take those 10 that I showed you, and you'll determine, okay, out of these 10, which ones do I think I'm going to be practicing the most? And then how will I be doing that? So this should be maybe 2 sentences per career learning outcome. And that's it. That's the entire contract. The evidence to assess learning. So how will your supervisor let you know you're doing a good job? Probably you're going to be meeting with them. How will your instructor know how to grade you? Probably, again, you'll be meeting with them, or they're going to want some type of paper or evidence of what you've done. And then exit interview is me. I send out an exit interview to employers and to students to see how the internship was, if it's something we should continue, and then how was the processing, so what I do. And then signatures, everyone's got to sign it. I take care of all of that. So you send it to me as a PDF and just download it to your computer, fill it out, and send it to me. And then I take care of all of the signatures, and the registrar will register you. Okay, questions? Any questions at all? Okay, Sarah, I think you can stop recording.